Yo, yo, yo. Today's been crazy. Obviously people had the global outage. Um, that was kind of like out of control. I was trying to get out of Vegas. So I'm going on a little late today, but I still want to get it in. Um, tr- Traveling when it comes to business. I think one of the biggest ways to grow your network is to build out network in different markets. And so traveling has been very beneficial for me pertaining to growing my business over the years. Obviously, if anybody read the Culture Playbook, I worked at Delta. I worked there for 7 years. I stayed seasonal for a reason. I had a very specific strategy because I felt like traveling the world would have gave me the opportunity to meet people, be in the right place at the right time. For me, that's not networking, that's God. Where you're somewhere just because you have the time to be there. And you can build out like relationships. You can just sit at parties. You can stay in the city longer because you got the flexibility of time, and you have the tools. Traveling was in my toolbox, and so it was. I've met so many people because I was able to travel at the drop of a dime working at Delta. Then when I finished working at Delta, the funny thing is, it seemed like I started traveling more. Delta, I was traveling in the States, focused on getting back to Atlanta to LA, Atlanta to LA, Atlanta to LA, Nashville here, New York here, Houston here, like going on tour, using it for that. But bulk of my traveling was trying to get from Atlanta to LA, right? And the fluent being able to be fluent between those two created this world where people thought that you know perception is reality, right? So I've never been one of those type of people that's like fake it till you make it. I'm like, no, if you see me in first class, I'm in first class. If you see me traveling 4 or 5 times a week, I'm really traveling. I'm not making it up. I'm not staging something, right? Which that's something that I've been uh privy that people do. People will stage a life that they don't have to sell you on the life that you might want, right? And that's not really my speed. So I was traveling so much where even the reason why it was so intentional is because one of my friends, college friends, well at the time we was just associates. We grew to friends over time, but he called me Worldwide Ty in 2000 like 3. But I would be like, he would be the only one that would call me that. So when I started working at Delta in 2011, at the time I didn't have an Instagram. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get an Instagram. I'm gonna buy Worldwide Tie domain. I'm gonna get the Worldwide Tie Instagram, Twitter, and then I'm gonna start just documenting my traveling. And that's how I'm gonna leverage the Delta stuff. So my early post on Instagram was just me, just photos like Toronto, Malibu, Brazil, LA, Miami, wherever, New York, wherever I was going, I would just like take a random photo and that's all I was post. I would never post any pictures. So it was so intentional on how I was going to utilize traveling to grow my business. I built a brand around it. Um, and it was the wildest thing when I started meeting people in the industry. They were like, yeah, this is the worldwide tide. I'm like, this is crazy. This is just the idea that I pulled from um I learned about the the worldwide like prestige after my homie from Memphis just started calling me that for whatever reason. I don't even know why he started calling me that, right? And so shout out to Tim. So yeah, so with that, the business side of traveling, it is important. You can plan it out. Like I remember when before I started working at Delta, I used to travel back and forth to Miami, and I would get online and try to find the cheapest ticket, right? And when I would get that ticket, I would try to find it, and I would be like, "Man, this is the cheapest ticket that I can get." And from there, I would go back and forth to Miami. Then when I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to LA," I started to like research it I would plan out my trips. And so one time I planned out a trip to London to go spend time with my cousin in like December 2009. I bought that. I bought that flight so far in advance. That flight was like $600, right? And right now, even if you can get a flight to London right now for $600, that's pretty cheap. But that thing had two layovers. And it might not with $600, probably more like around like four. But I bought it so far in advance, and I worked at Target at the moment. I mean, I worked at Target at the time, and man, I gotta get. It was doing blackout dates. I had to get approvals, but I booked that ticket like 7 months in advance. Now, this is the funny part. That was in 2009. I went to Cannes Mute Cannes Lions Advertisement Festival this June, and I booked my ticket September of 2023. So I'm still not that far fetched from planning out my life based off of finances and just based off of this ideology of different things. So you travel to go to places that will put you in a environment that will help you get more educated, get more connected to the things that you're passionate about, the things that you're working on. But overall, I think that uh, traveling gives you better dialogue to know how to communicate with people because you're in touch with so many different people when you're going to all these different markets, and it fine tunes you as a person. I think that traveling is a part of that personal development stage that we all need to go through. And personal development, when it relates to business, is so important because it's the foundation of how successful your business is going to be. So we're building business, but like it's like, okay, if I start my business in Columbus, Georgia, and I don't know, I got box trucks, right? Box trucks is my business. How is traveling going to help me build a business if I got box trucks? Well, one thing about box trucks is it's box trucks in every state, right? So you can literally go and say, oh, let me go drive over to Birmingham and ask some of my vendors that I work with here in Columbus, do they have anybody that I should connect with in Birmingham? And you drive over to Birmingham, you meet with a few contractors, and next thing you know, you might get a few contracts in Birmingham. Now you got a Birmingham contract that's local, you got a Columbus contract that's local. Now you start asking your people in Birmingham, like, hey, do y'all know anybody in Memphis? Like now you drive on to Memphis, you take a few meetings. So now you got a contract that you secured in Birmingham, contract you secured in Memphis, contract you secured in that you already had in Columbus, Georgia. So we're not even talking about getting on a plane. We're just talking about traveling in the sense of getting in the car, driving, getting on a train, driving, jumping on a Greyhound, driving. Obviously, flying is more of a luxury way of traveling, and it can get you where you need to go quicker, but we're just talking about how do you move around your ecosystem to get yourself out of your current city to figure out how to grow your business because having a local state business is great, but being able to grow your business cross state lines and throughout the country is should be everybody's long-term play. And if that's not everybody's long-term play, that's cool as well. You don't have to have those level of ambitions. You can just have the local paint shop where all you do, you just do all the paint jobs in your local area. You make $500,000 a year. You profit, 229,000, and that's your business for the next 5 years, and that's fine. You love to do it. You're not looking to expand. You're not looking to sell. That's still a way that you're controlling your time, and it's an element of fuck you money because you're doing it on your own rights, and you're able to dictate how you want to grow and what your workload is from that perspective. So I'm always gonna be like, I'm getting these things and I'm experiencing them on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis. That's why I want to do these every Friday. Sometimes I would try to get it on 4:30, I was at the airport in Vegas last night at 9 p.m. Pacific time. My flight did not leave Vegas until 7 a.m. Pacific time. So I was in the airport for almost 12 hours. I had a layover, flew to Phoenix. I get off the plane at 8. The flight leaves at 8:35, so I had to rush over to the plane. I landed in LA. I landed in Miami at 4, almost 5 o'clock. Um, and I have a call. Uh, and that call lasts longer because it was, supposed to be rescheduled, but we still was able to jump on. I get to the spot, I speak with my girl. She's showing me things. My cousin is coming over. I got a client I got to get with later. But then I still wanted to take the time out to jump on these calls. I think they're important just to give data, just weekly context. Like, moral of the story, the takeaway: traveling in a strategic and intentional way can grow your business. No matter what type of business it is, if you want your business to grow, traveling can grow your business. Even if it is a local sandwich shop and you don't have no interest on having it into this one area, even when you're traveling, you're telling people about what you're doing. When they come to Hateville, they know that they can come by your shop. And now you can have international people talking about your shop and making it a destination point where people want to come and experience the best sandwiches in Hateville, Georgia. So travel, plan your travel, travel with groups, travel with business associates, your peers, travel to summits, you know, travel to conferences, travel to grow your business, but also learn to have that boundary so that when you do travel, learn that it's a vacation, travel for vacation as well after you've been building your business and being very successful with it. So it's like that. We out. See everybody next Friday around the same time. This happened to be 4:30 Pacific time this week, 7:30 Eastern time. But we'll try to always catch between that 4:30 Pacific time. I mean 1:30 Pacific time, 4:30 Pacific time. That 3 hour window is a really good window because it gives me time from traveling. I can get settled, jump on, I always think that people, I like these because I don't always have a big audience when people are talking. But once I get off a week later, when I look at it, when I'm doing the next one, it's like 50, 60, 70 people have looked at it. They're quick, they're short. And people kind of get in what they take from it. So business, build it, travel to tell people about how happy you are about building the business. So I'm out. Peace.